Here we are.
This is going to be the most intense filter in we've had.
No mask, Mike?
Didn't need it.
No need. That's fair.
Did I send 4?
Yeah.
I feel like we've seen 3. I don't remember. Wasn't there a weird one? I feel like I sent like a weird Eyes Wide Shut one.
I don't know. I think I used all the ones I got.
Oh boy. CJ, there's already 700 for this quick is a lot.
Good amount of heads waiting in the chat.
Already.
They were waiting.
Anyone have any good jokes? No.
Mike, strike update?
I'm out there, baby. There was an Imagine Dragons impromptu concert outside of Netflix
All right.
today.
Weird.
I didn't know that was happening. Netflix was huge. I've been at Sony this whole time, and there was a massive. It was way, way, way bigger than Sony was. Ton more people, and all of a sudden, people were like more of like sort of cordoned off in an area, and then and all of a sudden, I see the Imagine Dragons get out of a van and greet my one of my coworkers who's like involved in the guild. I was like, "What's going on?" And all of a sudden, they start performing in front of the Netflix building on Sunset, and there was just an Imagine Dragons concert, and then the Netflix executives were like watching from their office, and then everyone started chanting like "Come down," taunting them, and that was great. And then I had to leave during the concert to come home to watch the game.
There you go.
A very strange.
That's an afternoon,
day.
buddy.
Yeah, it was an afternoon.
Let's do it. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Body Bio. Get 20% off any order at bodybio.com with code FIRECJ, all one word. Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process at briggsauction.com. And Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter with Zoe, statesidevodka.com. On the show today, I wonder, I know Celtics fans like listening to the pod sometimes, but I wonder if they're listening to this one. I wonder. The Sixers take a 3-2 lead in what we will call the Danuel House game, but was pretty much the every player on the Sixers game. Whew. Please subscribe if you're watching now. If this is your first time, we'd like to get to 11,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of this podcast. We're about 200 away. Subscribe, turn on notifications. Stateside Urban Craft Vodka. You might need some of that to calm yourself the fuck down. It's the summer almost. When it gets warm, you're going to want one of those Surfsides, the iced tea and vodka, the lemonade and vodka, the iced tea and lemonade and vodka, the peach tea and vodka, the vodka sodas. They're all the perfect summer beverage, if they could all be the perfect summer beverage. Go to statesidevodka.com. You've got to be 21. Without any further ado, Amos. Oh, I'd like to welcome also Al Horford's wife, Anna Horford, who is probably watching or listening to the pod. Without any further ado, Amos and the Chef.
Larry, sweetie, the man is here. Say the name. I say the name. I say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who, with his Jewish heritage, has started one of the most popular sports podcasts in America. That is one, Mike Levin.
Oh, baby! That was excellent. I sat so perfectly still all game long.
You needed to.
I was not moving. I was barely even emoting at all, and it was just bubbling inside. The occasional Maxey step back, I would start screaming, but really very contained,
Focus.
calm, focused game. Didn't want to do. I didn't tweet because I didn't want to ruin the vibe. I didn't want to get out ahead of myself. Incredible win. Hearing their boos in their own fucking arena for once. Going into their place, ripping their fucking hearts out. Every single run that they tried to get, every 4 points, 6 points, Sixers come, stop it. Daggers, so many meaningful daggers in this game. Everybody stepped up. Obviously, Danuel House, all fucking. I'm gonna write about this in the newsletter coming up, but I watched Lonnie Walker dominate in the fourth quarter of that game last night. And I was like, this would never happen to the Sixers. This would never happen to the Sixers.
It happened.
Because Doc doesn't play those guys enough. And then finally, out of the woodwork, they go out to the shed. They grab Dan fucking House. Tampering Dan House.
Sex Dan House.
Covering for Harden's sex in the bubble Dan House. And he just simply makes layups. A remarkable development in transition for this team. Honestly, everybody played well in this game. I thought the defense was excellent, and I've given this team a lot of shit for their defense. I thought the refs bailed out the Celtics a ton of times, allowing them 34 foul shots. I didn't think that was warranted at all. Defense did a great job. The zone was pretty good. The defense did a great job of funneling their offense into Horford threes or Marcus Smart with nothing else to do, and they just played really, really well. Everybody, the whole team played really, really, really well. And I will not. This is the only time I'm going to bring. I will not bring up the last 2.5 minutes of the game where it looked like they wanted to give it away. We're not talking about it. Doesn't exist. Goodbye.
Was never going to happen. I could feel it early. This was a win. You know, you mentioned Danuel House. At one point, Sixers Adam tweeted, Danuel House is cooking or something, LOL. And I thought to myself, the first thing I thought was he is cooking. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute. I think he just made some layups. But it seems so out of the ordinary.
Yep.
For a Sixer that isn't Maxey, I don't know, to make a layup. Look, first of all, again, I'd like to welcome any Celtics fans who listen to the podcast. Welcome. This is a safe space for you. That was a thorough ass kicking. It was a thorough ass kicking.
In their own friggin' Dan House.
The most together. Yeah, we've talked a bunch of times about them not matching the energy or having the appropriate energy for the moment. Boy, did they have it in this game. Yeah. I mean, they played well, but they also played hard. And there were moments, I had a couple oh no moments. The first oh no moment I had in the first 2 minutes of the game was when they got Embiid the ball twice and Horford was on him twice. And I was like, fuck, man, Horford's got his ass again. But they just they battled through it. The fact that every time the Celtics got it down to 8 points, it was at 14 points again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was somebody new at every time during the game. Just like an excellent win, an excellent game from Embiid, a couple of just incredibly clutch blocks. It was great to see the 3-pointers go down a couple of times, him just more willing to shoot them, which was nice as well. Harden, just a very solid, unspectacular, but very solid game on offense. And the thing that I liked is that sometimes when he's having an unspectacular game on offense, he'll just give the ball to Maxey and just sort of disappears off on the wing or off in the corner or something. It just felt like this was a game where he just sort of controlled it. It felt very point guardy from Harden. I don't even know what to say, that the defensive intensity the entire time felt like it was, the Celtics, like I've mentioned, and I mentioned before the series, they do settle for jumpers a lot and they do take a lot of threes, but it felt like every time they tried to break that and tried to get to the basket, the Sixers were there. The Sixers were there.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a great win.
It was a great win. I knew
the Boston, they had to bring out their fucking all white guy team for the last 2 minutes.
Once they put in Pritchard, I was like, oh, we're winning this game.
Yeah.
Like they were looking good. There was never a point in the game where I was like, I'm comfy. There was just never a point in the game. They were up 19 with 4 minutes left. And I was like, I'm not doing anything yet. I'm not moving a muscle in any way. Because we've seen what both teams are capable of. But when they put Pritchard in, it really felt like you guys don't fucking know what you're doing. Like, you're hoping this guy's going to give you're like at least top 7, the deepest team in the league. And you're putting in Peyton Pritchard for a spark. I think I loved the nervous energy in their arena the entire time. It was great.
You could see it in the play. You could see it in their play. I felt like too. Like and here was, they're sort of like weird in that. What's his name? Jaylen Brown has busted the Sixers' ass the entire series,
whole series.
But even when they went to him in this game, which didn't feel like a lot, but even when they went to him, it felt like he struggled to get to the basket. It was the most I've seen the Sixers compete defensively on the perimeter, like all year long, honestly.
Yeah.
All year long.
And I think maybe that's why they got charged for a bunch of like fouls and they got in the penalty so quick, and that was frustrating. I wish the refs would let him play a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, Jaylen is the toughest cover on this team by far, for what the Sixers have. For him to only take 16 shots, thank you to Boston for continuously going away from him when he's obviously the best chance that they have of winning these games. I credit, he was 3 for 8 from the line, and I credit PJ Tucker with those misses. Like he's a great foul shooter, obviously, and PJ just leaning on him all game and making it hard on him. This is the first game where I felt like Boston got tired. Mm-hmm. And once the Sixers went up and they started having to chase, like that feeling of when you're down and you feel like the clock is running away from you, and you just start having to chase, and you're chasing and you're chasing.
And every time you get a stop and your 3 doesn't go in, it feels like you're set back another 10 miles.
Well, it was either a 3 or 3s that weren't going in, or like I think the Sixers did such a good job of running the Celtics off the line. The Celtics obviously took a ton of 3s still, but running the Celtics off the line and forcing them into like a kind of like a floater that's contested, and you're like, if that goes in, then like God bless them. That's great. But man, it made it hard on him all game long, and it just needs to be said. Obviously, so many guys were integral to this win, but the impact that Joel Embiid has at the rim just cannot be quantified in any way known to man.
Honestly, in this series, maybe more than ever. Like
it definitely feels that way. And as much as I love B-Ball Paul and think he's been great and had a great first half, we can talk about him. Like, that's why they have to go back to. They're not taking B-Ball out quickly because he's just not able to hang. It's because Joel is just so good at deterring Boston from shooting at the rim, and then obviously what he gives you on offense, that like you just have to bring him back in as quickly as you can. And then we can get to, should they play B-Ball Paul at the 4? I don't know. We'll see. But man, like he contested there was one play where he contested Jaylen at the rim and recovered to Derek White for a block on the same play. That was just incredible dexterity for a guy who, again, his knee should be on ice for like 3 more weeks. And it's just like he's playing high intensity, overtaxed playoff basketball. The Tatum drives a couple times and he's just like throwing the ball behind him because he's seeing Embiid come over and he just doesn't have a prayer. And he's like, okay, I'm throwing to somebody, but Embiid just swallows up so much space and time that they gave the ball away so many times there. They just didn't get any easy looks out of it. The Celtics didn't obviously Horford shot bad, but aside from that, like the team as a whole shot pretty well on those looks. I mean, they missed a bunch of foul shots, but I think that's because they were so tired from how much they had to keep like helping on Joel and recovering under shooters and everything. Embiid, they got a little sloppy towards the end, but that chase down block on Jaylen Brown
was sick.
was just there's so many in this playoff, like already, like seminal moments that I'm already like pining for a video yearbook of these playoffs, because that is such a momentous play of like, we are taking this seriously. I fuck up, accountability. I'm going to go make this fucking play on the other end. Huge block. And again, like, why isn't Jaylen Brown dunking that? Everybody just needs to be dunking more. I'm happy he wasn't, but like, just be dunking. It should be happening all the time. Really, like, there was no one on the team that played bad on the Sixers, and it's rare that that's the case. We haven't talked about Tobias yet, but I thought his rebounding in the first quarter really set the tone in a bunch of ways. That they were serious about stuff, and I was great shit.
The boy, I have a thing to read you that I'm looking at on the DraftKings app. I'm going to read to you in a second. The Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Body Bio. Boy, your gut might need a little settling right now. Might need a little gut plus. Might want to pop a couple during the pod, Mike. That's safe, right? Yeah, it's always safe to gut plus. Body Bio, we love Body Bio. They are a supplement company right here in Jersey. Family owned, family operated. Want to tell you about Elite because I have some of it in my water right here. Elite is pure electrolytes. Solved a huge problem for me. I had a terrible cramping problem in my legs, in my calves, in my feet. What happened when I was driving, what happened when I was running, all that kind of shit. This solved my hydration problem. I drank a ton of water, but it wasn't just water. You need electrolytes. With Elite, you get it without sugar. You get it without artificial colors. You get it without artificial flavors. You just take a little bit, put it in your water at night, little bit, put it in your drink in the morning, solves that problem for you. Mike, gut issues all the time. All these people taking all these different probiotics. You're going to take one gut supplement, take Gut Plus. Take Gut Plus. It's a prebiotic. What it's going to do is get rid of all the shit in your gut that prevents you from making your own probiotics, which is what you want your body to do. And it will help you with all those symptoms, like the bloat, irregularity, all that kind of stuff. Gut Plus. Go to bodybio.com, bodybio.com, and use code FIRECJ. That's right, FIRECJ for 20% off any order, anytime. That is bodybio.com, code FIRECJ. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, we are a mere 100 subscribers away from 11,000. They said we couldn't do it. So if you're watching on YouTube for the first time, please subscribe. Mike, right now on the DraftKings app, the 76ers are the favorite to win the NBA title.
Oh, don't tell me that.
They are the co-favorite with the Lakers at plus 350.
No. I refuse to hear that. I don't accept it. I don't hear it. I don't understand it.
Oh my God. Well, actually the Nuggets are also plus 350 now too. So but still favorite. And potentially, oh my God, you know what? Still a game to win. They still got to win a game. They still got to win a game.
Job's not finished.
So you mentioned Tobias Harris. Last season in the playoffs, Tobias had a good first round and then fucking totally disappeared against the Heat, 100%. Now, against the Celtics, did have a good first couple of games, but the last two games completely disappeared. And I honestly thought to myself, he's fucking gone. That's it. We mentioned that physically, when we're talking about the Celtics being long and being fast and blah, 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 blah. But the thing that we never see out of Tobias, even when he's playing well, is tough. Mm-hmm. And he was right there. I love PJ Tucker. I love all the attention he's gotten this week on the broadcast. Jerome Weitzman wrote a profile. I fucking loved it. 7 rebounds tonight, 7 big rebounds. Love PJ. But there were many moments in that first half where the two guys getting the tough rebounds were fucking PJ Tucker and Tobias Harris. I've just never seen that out of Tobias Harris before. I don't know where it came from. It was a really solid game. There was only one moment in the entire game, like Embiid standing there with Derek White on him, and Tobias has Horford on him, and Tobias just fucking laser focused Toby times. But that's the only complaint I have with Tobias Harris's entire game. It was a really solid game from him and a really tough game from him. A game that I feel like we've never seen. We've seen great offensive games from him, but never like tough games from him.
Yeah, he had double-double in the first half.
Yep.
Just crazy. I mean, and then didn't really do anything the rest of the game. But okay, it was in foul trouble. But yeah, got a dunk in transition. Good way to start us off. Toby dunks. We've been tracking it all season. We love it. and then like two offensive rebounds putbacks on like tough physical under the basket stuff. I'm gonna call it out when we talk about Joel also, but like those offensive rebounds that Embiid got, that PJ's gotten over the course of the series, that Tobias got tonight, like, oh, ESPN is playing.
Oh yeah, that happened to me last pod.
Those offensive rebounds are preventing Boston from getting out in transition. Them fighting for offensive rebounds, and Embiid towards the end of the last game sort of discarded Horford in such a very physical way to get an offensive rebounder. I think he drew a foul off of it. Those kinds of things, and they have to stay home and put a body on somebody. That makes it hard for them to get out in transition. And obviously the Sixers have had a tough time in transition all season long. That was the biggest weakness. They can't match up in transition. They don't identify it quick enough. Usually the guys that's back is Harden or Maxey, and they're just like doing their best. And so to not only be a threat as an offensive rebounding team in these playoffs, but also make them pay for it, it's working on both ends, and it's a huge reason why they run this game. And Tobias was big in that. He just big rebounds, just big physical, like high point rebounds, first to the ball. I love that shit, man. And yeah, once in a while he's gonna have his office hours. He's gonna get in his post against a smaller guy, and there's not many office hours to go around these days. Like there's other people that they have to service, but like from like 11 a.m. to noon on Wednesday, if you're there, pop over by the quad. Tobias has office hours, and he's gonna make it work in there. They needed every bucket, and I'm happy for the guy. I'm happy for the guy. He had a nice play. I forget what was the play, but he then goes to the bench and high fives the entire bench afterwards. I thought that was just nice. That's just Tobias like involving the whole team after. I fucking really big game out of just everybody, and it's so necessary.
Lorenzo Brown died for this. Elliot Williams died for this. Nerlens Noel died for this. Matt Koshwal died for this. Andre Kirilenko died for this. Danny Granger died for this.
Yeah.
Died for this moment.
Yeah. You did name three guys that never played a minute for the Sixers, but I respect it. I absolutely respect it.
So, Maxey. Now, it wasn't exactly, I tweeted out some text that Mike O'Connor sent me before the series. Mike was very intent on the Sixers beating the Celtics. Mm-hmm. The first group of texts, Tatum has a Kobe fetish. Jaylen Brown thinks Mayans invented basketball. Al Horford committed basketball terrorism in Philadelphia and cannot go unpunished by the universe. Celtics are soft losers. But today, and it wasn't exact, but he was like, look, there's only two ways this game goes. He goes, either the Sixers get blown out or we finally get a Maxey game. Mm-hmm. And we got a Maxey game.
Yeah.
And then, God bless him, once they started going in, he started fucking feeling it.
Yeah.
And we have not had a ton of players over the last 10 years who are heat checker guys that you actually feel like the ball is going in. When he's like normal, I feel like every three he takes is going to go in, and it's the most stunning thing I've ever seen. But I also think like this game's super important for the rest of the playoffs, because if they get past the Celtics, they're going to play most likely a Miami team that is going to grind defensively too. Like it's not going to get any easier from here. So they're going to need the points from him. It was a really, really, really important game for Maxey, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking ahead whatsoever.
Not looking ahead
at all.
Not looking ahead. Not looking ahead.
He just started setting his feet a little bit. I felt like Boston's so fast defensively. There's enough guys that can move their feet and they're long. That Maxey's solution for the first 4 games was I got to go faster, and that just the opposite is true. You just got to slow down. You're not going to beat them with your just speed. They can make up for that. And there were a couple times when he set his feet. He got behind. He did a great job of using Embiid screens and just sort of like Embiid's big body getting in the way of guys that didn't want to come all the way out to like 27. And when he gets his feet right, he can shoot. He has so much range from everywhere. That was huge. And there was one really nice play where on a pick and roll with Embiid, the pick and roll was working for the whole team all game. Well, it was Harden or Maxey with Embiid. Maxey has the ball, takes the Embiid screen, and he just hesitates for a second on the left wing and freezes Horford enough to where Horford's not like, well, I'm going to stay with Embiid or I'm just going to switch right onto Maxey. He froze him for just a little bit, and then that indecision for Horford allowed Maxey to then go, okay, now I'm going to burst to the rim, and he gets there. And I just thought he used a little bit more guile on his rim attacks, where it wasn't just like beeline to the basket that the Celtics kept packing him at the high point by the rim all the time. I thought it was just such a great Maxey game. Obviously, the huge three. Boston kept trying, we talked about it already, but like kept trying to come back into it, kept trying to break the seal of like, can we get this down to 8 or 7? And Maxey just hits a massive catch and shoot three in their house. Like that's such a big shot for a young guy like that on the wing. And I fucking love that dude, man. And I thought that his speed, once later in the game, once the Boston was so tired from chasing, then his speed became a weapon again. And he was just blowing by people and just using any screen or any like confusion on the defensive end to get points up. And the Sixers didn't shoot that well as a team. They shot 40% from 3, but that's because Maxey was 6 of 12. Everybody else was 6 of 18. So it was really just like, it wasn't like, oh, it was a fluke. It was a fluke game. It was like, this was finally the Maxey game that they needed. 30 points on 21 shots, 7 rebounds. Like every rebound is big. I love the guy. It's sort of weird that he keeps face guarding instead of boxing out like
Dude,
regular.
what the fuck is that? What's he doing?
I'm not sure. They've gotten the second game in a row that he hasn't gotten a rebound because he's been just like trying to kiss the guy he's boxing out. But interesting choice. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, I mean, the only guy to play over 40 minutes, that was dope. He was just really, really, really good in this game, and they needed it. It was just like very much time for it. I also, just to close the book on what I said before about the transition, Boston had 5 fast break points in this game. 5. And that feels to me just like a season low for the Sixers as a defense. And so that's massive. And I really credit that for, obviously they've locked in defensively and they were taking good shots, but also just like them rebounding out, them getting after the offensive glass, and Boston not being able to just leak out. Huge stuff.
It was an uneventful game for a guy B-ball, but the one bucket on the pick and roll was pretty sweet. God.
Loved it. He was he got
Harden
blocked twice on that possession.
Harden passing to him like in kind of a tight window, and him. I feel like it's a move I never saw before, where you just like delaying the layup until most of your body is under the backboard and still laying it in.
Yeah,
that was a nice little bucket from B.
He's the man. I mean, he dove on the ground on the first play.
Yes, when Harden almost turned it over.
Harden blows the dribble handoff, and that in with any other backup center or any center, that's a layup for Boston at the other end. B-ball dives in between 3 Celtics, gets the ball, wins the jump, and gets a Harden 3 out of that possession. Just like those are those little things that, like, in game 3, when it felt like nothing was getting there for the Sixers, it felt like they kept losing those kinds of possessions, and it was great for B-ball to grab them one. And then the next play, great contest on a smart drive. I'm yelling no help. I'm just yelling. The only thing I'm yelling at B-ball Paul all game is no help. Don't help him. He's on. He's good. He's got it.
He did. I'm sorry. Just finish.
No. And I thought that play, that the beautiful pocket pass from Harden, where he finished between Rob Williams and Jaylen Brown, who both like got a hand on the ball as he was going up with it. That's a big play. And I really do wish that they would give him, because I don't want I love that Joel got to sit the last couple of minutes of the game, even though it was a torturous few minutes. But B-ball is not the problem in those lineups. Sometimes the offense just stops looking good, and it's more like B-ball's not doing it's less B-ball's not doing his job, and more Embiid is just so good that you got to get him back in there.
We just call him B-ball.
Yeah, well, that's his name, man. That is his name. I love the guy. He was, and B-ball was huge in the first half. It was like a 8 point game at the end of the first, and then 9. It stretched to like 14 or 15, and it became like this could be a game that they just put over the edge. And I'm in love with him.
One thing I would like to see, because hopefully we have a bunch more Sixers playoff games this year, is I would like to see, given how good he is defending 1 through 5 and switching, just maybe he makes errors switching every once in a while, but he can switch. I want to see a defensive possession at the end of the game to win it. And there's a timeout, and Doc sends his 5 out there, and one of the 5 is fucking B-ball.
It absolutely should be.
Yeah.
It absolutely should be.
Yeah.
My five would be like, if it's a 1 possession type thing, you're gonna put one of Harden and Maxey in this. So let's just say it's Harden. They would give me
B-ball,
Harden,
House.
give me Melton, give
Yeah.
me Tucker,
Yeah.
B-ball, and Embiid.
Yeah.
Because then if Embiid comes up, then at least there's some rim protection back. I love it. Needs to happen. Let B-ball play some 4. Yeah, I mean, just to really, we need to talk a little bit more about Dan House. Like, several contested layups in transition. Like, I wrote in my notes, finishes a contested layup in transition, and then he did it again, and then he did it again, and then the alley-oop finish layup from Harden, which was crazy. That Harden would throw that pass, and that Dan House would finish it. And then the biggest play was like his short roll pass to Maxey, where all of a sudden he's setting screens and rolling. That's classic, like Houston Harden Dan House situation. That's a massive play. And he really is. He's a versatile when he's locked in, and he really is not always locked in, or even often.
This is my
locked
favorite part of these pods,
It
where
has
you
to
go
be.
way overboard.
Well,
on
but
things.
he's versatile, at least like in the sense that
Conceptually.
he's maybe the one guy on this roster who can defend down onto the guards of this team, like a Brogdon, Smart, White, but also give Tatum and Brown some trouble. He has that versatility, and he was look. There were times when I was like, give the ball to someone else, but he attacked the basket. He finished well, and then did you see him drool at the end?
Team drool?
He had a ton of drool, like
No.
dripping down his mouth, for like a good 3 seconds of screen time in a close up, and then eventually he dabbed his own mouth. But I love the drool. He should be drooling. I'm drooling watching him play. Huge game. It's so necessary from a role player to step up in this kind of game where it's a long playoffs. It hasn't been a long playoffs for the Sixers in 20 some years, but generally it's a long playoffs for contenders. And you just need a couple games where you go like those buckets, those plays here and there that this guy made that you didn't expect, just like makes the team feel like a full team. And it's not just Embiid having to do it. It's not just Harden having to do it. It's fucking Dan House.
Can somebody clip the video of the drool and tweet it at CJ or something?
Yeah.
I need to see the drool.
I wasn't the only one to see the drool. People saw the drool. 100%.
A quick just aside about drool. Do you ever look at Instagram? You look at Instagram, scroll through Instagram.
Sure. Yeah.
I keep getting these ads for this mint that is supposed to make your mouth drool more. And it is a sexually suggestive mint. I swear I keep getting these ads. I don't know what it says about me. I never knew that a mint like this existed. In any case, we have a very important stat line from tonight to go over. We'll go over it in 1 second. You please stay there because an important stat line from tonight. Briggs Auction is the official auction of the process. Here's what I want you to do. Go to the App Store or Google Play. Type in Briggs Auction, Briggs Auction. Download the app or go to briggsauction.com. Right now, 2 auctions up there. So Briggs Auction, family owned and operated, 4 generations auction house in Delco. I love going through the stuff. The discovery auction that's up there right now, I think like 1,000 lots. The collectibles section is the shit in this one. I like the art section in this one. I like the collectibles section. Tons of autographed baseballs. There's some lots where they're like, I don't even know who autographed these baseballs. There's 12 of them. $8. The lot start at $1, can go up to whatever. Not just fun little collectible stuff like I like, but vintage furniture, vintage clothing, all that kind of stuff, all at Briggs Auction. And the auctions are basically not every week, every other week or something. What I do is I check the app every Tuesday or something, see if there's a new auction up there. There's 2 up there right now. There's another one coming next week. Estate auctions, all that kind of stuff. You want to go to briggsauction.com, briggsauction.com, or download the app, the Briggs Auction app at Google Play or the App Store. And if you have shit to get rid of, local estate, downsizing, send an email to info@briggsauction.com. Steve and Stephanie will take care of you. info@briggsauction.com. There's Briggs Auction. Briggs Auction. Okay. I have a very important stat line to read here to you, Mike. Minutes, 25. Field goals, 0 for 7. 3-point field goals, 0 for 7. Free throws, 0 for 0. A -18 and 0 points. Now, if you happen to be a close relative of this person, perhaps their wife, active on Twitter, you're listening, you may want to turn it off now, as this is the stat line for one Al Horford, who last we saw in the last game was shimmying after a dunk and just turned in an 0 for 7 with 0 points. There are some players in the NBA who have such dog in them, who are such masters of accountability that they can score 0 points and be very effective during the game. Al Horford's not one of those guys.
A couple days after he called himself an elite shooter.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
I did, and I guess it depends on your definition of elite.
Flacco level elite shooter.
Yeah, there are just some players who you're like, okay, he'll do something else. He's going to grind out some tough offensive rebound. He's going to stick the other guy's best player. And there are some guys who just play 25 minutes and don't make any shots the whole time. And Al Horford tonight was the latter.
Yeah, and I like the Sixers' best offense is Harden and Embiid with Horford defending a pick and roll. And if they switch, then it's Harden against Horford, and he's beaten him time and again this series. And if he starts to think about stuff, then it becomes a pocket pass to Embiid. They kept going over and over again. It was pick and pop, pick and pop, pick and pop, Harden Embiid 2-man game, pocket pass jumpers at the nail, just like over and over and over again. And Horford just couldn't do anything about it. Especially with how good Jalen has been defensively on Harden. Just like Boston is giving up that switch way too easily, or allowing, I don't know, maybe Embiid's screens I haven't really thought too much about it, but are Embiid's screens so good that they're getting Jalen off of it? But like, I'm really thankful every time Jalen is not on James Harden. Although a couple times Harden did draw 2 3-pointer fouls, one on Jalen, one on I think Marcus. Yeah, Horford was bad. He was in Joel's head at the end of game 4, and I thought in this game, Embiid really forced the issue to like play downhill, force Horford, who's smaller. Like when Embiid's leaning back and playing a little deliberate, and Horford can start to read him and get into his rhythm, then Embiid is susceptible to getting blocked because Horford's long, he has big hands, he can make plays happen. But when Embiid's just like playing downhill, using his physicality on Horford, putting Horford on his back foot, and Embiid's dictating terms, there's nothing he can do about it. There's nothing anybody can do about it in the league, really, except for Brook Lopez, who's the best player in the league. But Embiid just made it happen the whole game, and Horford couldn't do shit about it. Yeah, Embiid's shooting, his jump shooting was electric tonight. And also, like, how about Embiid going 3 of 7 from deep? The first time he's hit threes in several months.
Even taking 7 threes.
Taking 7 threes is massive. CJ, tell us when the last time Embiid took 7 threes was. It feels like it was forever.
100 years ago.
Certainly like a long time. It's certainly not often this season was he taking 7 threes.
I wonder why. I wonder if it was he played so many minutes in the last game, just sort of a,
I mean, he didn't play without the knee brace is gone.
in the first half, and then he had something on there. They said the second half.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that.
They said he didn't put a full brace on, but he had like a sleeve on or something.
Interesting. But I thought he was. I mean, everybody was great. It was a weird game. Everybody was great. I thought, really, once they kept going into their bread and butter of Harden and Embiid pick and roll, pick and pop, like there was just nothing that Boston was doing about it. And I thought Embiid made a bunch of really nice passes off of the short roll to get to PJ or to get to Tobias. Yeah, and Harden did enough. April 2nd, shot 1 of 7 against the Bucks. Well, more recently than I wanted to be CJ. I don't really
why
like
don't
it.
you find the real one?
You're trying to do it. Build me up, CJ. Make me feel like I'm making a good point here.
Yeah.
Don't say, "Hey, it was a fucking month ago, you idiot."
You show up the host. Your job is to make. The host look
show
good.
me up. Change the stats if the stats are bad.
This guy doing.
And I thought it was a great Harden like getting into his mid range, like. Kevin Harlan called it chiseling into his mid-range. I thought that was like what it feels like of like he's just sort of probing, just like not extending too far with the chicken wing, but like getting enough space where he can get to it. And Harden took 8 shots. Like he took 8 shots. He got to the line 10 times. He took 8 shots.
Okay, he was good tonight.
That's exactly what I wanted this game. I wanted to find a middle ground Harden game, and we got it. He was great. Yeah, and just the last thing I want to say about PJ is. Like, I thought it was his best passing game of the playoffs. I thought he was getting it, even when, obviously I would like him to shoot from more places on the court, but like he was getting out of his hands quickly and getting it to guys where they needed it and fast.
He's a pretty good passer, by the way.
Yeah, I mean a very like quick, like to the
Yeah.
point passer. There's nothing fancy about it. He's getting out of his hands in an instant. But he had that really nice like shovel pass to Maxey for the like sort of fading 3 and the
Right.
leading to the corner. That was huge. And I just love how pissed off he gets when they get a hustle basket on him when he's on the court. He takes it so personally, and I appreciate that because that's how I want him to be. Niang did nothing, but I didn't think he was a negative either. He was sort of just like nondescript. Didn't get a 3 off. It's probably the first time in 12 minutes that he hasn't gotten a 3 off. But I still think his presence of being a great shooter impacts how they defend and how they don't help off him. And I thought it was a good Melton game.
Did you?
I thought it was a good Melton game. He wasn't there. I think that they were like. I wonder if like Embiid playing a little scared on Horford allowed them to maybe switch less or help off shooters less because they really didn't get that many aside from Maxey. They really just didn't take that many threes off of like Embiid or Harden passes. And so Melton only took 1 3, which is, rare for him over the course of for how many he took over the regular season. But I thought he played well. I thought he had the really nice poke out on Tatum, that like sort of a Matisse-esque poke out from behind that Maxey then threw an outlet for Melton to finish, and he did finish in transition. That was huge. But yeah, I think he fouls a little bit too much. I wish they didn't call as many fouls on him as they do, because I think I would like him on. I think he's our best. Him and PJ are best options on those two bigger guys, even though he's small. I'd rather them shoot over him than blow past Tobias.
Mm-hmm.
If he's making it hard on them, he's contesting. If they hit those shots, then okay. But yeah, I thought he was all right. They're up 3-2.
We talked about it last game, and you mentioned it. And I actually, in my once every 2 years, writing something on the website because I felt inspired about Tucker. And it's been beaten to death this week, which I never thought would happen. that the PJ Tucker narrative would be a nationally beat to death thing. But for you to be a guy, this is how meaningful a guy like this is. For you to be a guy who A, doesn't score any points, B, screams at your fucking teammates,
Mm-hmm.
and for them to all be like, hey, I want him here, that shows like his value. And I know you're going to think this is horseshit, this part of it, but when you questioned him playing through the injury stuff during the year,
Yeah.
Because of his age, first of all, I would like to say he is not lacking energy for one fucking second out there.
No.
And I do think part of why he does shit like that is that whole, like, I'm going to do this. So when you're looking at me, when it hurts in the playoffs or when you played 42 minutes and I'm fucking staring at you, you knew that I did this, that I pushed through it.
I think he could have done that with just like a week off for a dead hand. I just think that could have happened.
I fucking love that dude, man. I'm so happy he's on the Sixers, and I'm so glad especially after last year when he was on the Heat, and it was just, Embiid said it after the series that he wishes they had PJ Tucker. I'm glad he's on the fucking team, man. I love that dude.
Me too, man.
I love him.
Me too. I think he's been massive in this series, and one of the biggest reasons why this team is different from the previous iterations of those Sixers teams is because they're just not as willing to give up or willing to like let them back in or willing to like take a couple possessions for granted. I think Harden does that too often. There were a couple like really fluky plays where they're just like lobbing the ball out and Boston got a hand on it, or like they need to clean those up. There's too many of those, and I'm sure PJ's on him for that. But there's just something nice about a guy who takes defense very seriously.
He must be such a bitch to play against, man.
Yeah,
like
I really
like.
I mean? I'm crediting his missed free Jalen's missed free throws with PJ because he's just laying on him. He's just laying on him all game, just being so hard and denying the ball pretty much. And no, he's been great. I love him. He's been great. I don't take back the idea that he should have sat a couple games in December or January.
But I know why he did it. I understand why he
generally,
did it.
Generally, yeah.
So Mike, I know you're not looking ahead.
No.
We're not looking ahead to next series, though that could be potentially a lot for us. I
couldn't be looking. It's remarkable how little I'm looking ahead to that. Not a chance.
Are they
the idea that
win
the Sixers couldn't lose both of these games? It's so in the realm of possibility.
Absolutely.
That it's not even. I'm not being bashful when I'm doing it. It's like we know what they're capable of.
Do you think they're going to win on Thursday?
I do.
Wow.
I do. I think they're going to win in 6. I think they're going to save me from a very difficult Mother's Day conversation. They just bring it home, man. I think they're taking it seriously. They know what it's going to take. I think Boston's going to give them all they have. I think the arena's going to be crazy.
By the way,
got to win in 6. Sixers in 6, baby.
CJ, before we go, could you go to Paul Reed's Twitter and bring up his most recent tweet?
Oh no, he's tweeting already?
Oh, he tweets like 2 minutes after every game, and he's the best. This is the greatest. As soon as CJ brings it up, I'll read it for those who are just listening. There's 4 pictures. Another Sixers win, another Out the Mud post. Get you a Out the Mud t-shirt for summertime. T-shirts are $35 plus shipping and handling. DM if you are interested. And T-shirts. It is we're selling his merch for him. He's fucking making $1 million a year. It's a Ringer t-shirt, not Ringer the the website, but like the ring around the neck and the arms. It's an interesting choice for him. The Ringer style t-shirt.
His shirt should be weirder to match his style of play.
It is funny though that it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well,
has no one seen the drool yet? No one has. We need someone just rewind it and take a picture of the drool.
Yeah.
Someone had to have seen it.
I wanted to see the drool during the podcast.
Yeah.
3-2
on the Celtics, man. That's a huge win. Game 5 in Boston, huge win. Gotta bring it. Really would love to not have to go back to fucking Boston for a Game 7.
Oh wow. Yeah. Did you CJ, you put these voicemails in here? I didn't know. Okay. A couple of new voicemails from post game. 833 Lickface. That is 833 Lickface is the voicemail number.
I'm so fucking happy that the Celtics lost that way. It made me want to write a song. It made me want to be like, Fuck the Celtics. Fuck the Celtics all the way. All the way. Fuck the fucking Celtics. We'll win in 6 games. Fuck the Celts. I don't know. I don't know the song. I don't know how it goes yet. I'm just writing it in my head. But my point is I fucking love how much that their fucking fans look sad at home. Oh, I almost like beating the Celtics more than winning the game. And that makes me feel bad about who I am, and I don't care.
So I just want to let that guy know you're not actually writing that song. You stole that melody from like that is a different song.
Sure.
Yeah.
The idea that they could not only beat the Celtics, but also end this era of Celtic basketball if Jalen decides to go somewhere else where he would get more than like 16 shots a game because Marcus Smart's taking step backs and Tatum is sort of lazily getting into his robotic rhythm. I would love that. I would love that for everybody. That would be such a good inherent, like just like a pure good thing. I hope we get it. I hope we get it in 2 days.
And I'll leave you with this because CJ has titled this voicemail I fully erect. So 833 Lickface is the voicemail
Spike
number.
Mike, Francisco Bermuda, MD, resident Ricky, doctor, self-proclaimed until otherwise, was talking to Vito Lasagna Vitale before the game. He says he's off the rah-rah train, says the Sixers do better when he talks shit. Well, let me tell you, I am strapped to the fucking front of that rah-rah train, fully erect, wind blowing in my hair. Yes, we may be heading directly for a brick wall, but I don't fucking care. Let's go, baby.
There you go. Your fully erect penis going into a brick wall as you celebrate the Sixers win.
That's safe.
Just as it was meant to be.
We
All
advise
right.
that.
We will talk to you Thursday night after the game. Potentially, if they were to win, it will be the first podcast we've ever done with the Sixers past the second round.
Oh my God. Why would you say that?
I'm just saying that's
Nobody likes it. Wait, CJ's got something.
the draw.
That's it.
Oh no! Oh God!
That was it.
Shout out Luke in the chat who got that for us.
Oh no!
Wait, can you
play it one more time?
freeze on? Can you freeze on it? It was like a long piece of drool.
Oh no!
There it is. That just makes me appreciate. This is the Danuel House drool game.
Oh no! So do you know what that is? That is every once in a while when I'm running and I go to spit or something, and it doesn't go all the way out of my mouth, and it's on my face, and I have to wipe. Oh my God, that is just fucking terrible.
He got it, baby. That's all of it. Sometimes it takes all you got.
He's sucking on those Instagram mints, I think.
Incredible.
Dogs drool, everyone keeps saying in the chat. It's an all-time chat night. I want to give credit to the chat. It's been an all-time chat night. Now I'm looking at like, oh my God. That's a lot of drool, man.
Amazing.
That's a lot of drool.
Amazing.
Fuck, that's disgusting.
We got one. Dan
Okay.
House up 3-2.
Oh,
One more
3-2.
game at home. Phil's also won today. That was nice. Just like close it out. Be normal. Close it out.
Close it out. Be normal. Close it out in 6. Sixers in 6, as they like to say. We'll talk to you Thursday night. Thank you for listening. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah. You know Lickface.